HaShoah, the memorial day for the Holocaust, comes right after Pesach, after we celebrated freedom in the month of Nisan, when we are still in the atmosphere of Pesach, of happiness, and as we are reaching towards Shavuot. Many times I've asked myself, why did Hashem cause Yom HaShoah to be in this date? Well, technically Yom HaShoah, the date was chosen because of the rebellion in the ghetto Warsaw, in the Warsaw ghetto. And we focus on also the strength of the Jewish people who fought against the Nazi. But why did Hashem cause the people to choose this date? What was Hashem trying to teach us? What was the lesson Hashem was hiding in placing Yom HaShoah just be after Pesach? Rav Kook says he used to write his history, Historia, instead of with a tet as the common way to write history. He used to write it with a taf, Hesterya, as if Hashem is hiding inside the history. If you want to understand Hashem, we look at history. When we look at history, it's not just events, it's Hashem hiding in all of the events. So what was Hashem teaching us? We can't always ask, why did Hashem do something? Why did Hashem bring the Holocaust? Why did someone die? Why did someone succeed? We can't ask it. We don't understand. We can ask, what lesson do we learn from what happened? So let's try and learn the lesson from the Holocaust and placing the day between Pesach, Yom Ha'atzmaut, and Shavuot. A nation or any group has 3 legs that it stands on, just like the tripod I'm using now to take the video. The first leg is the vision. What is the aim of our group? What is the aim of our nation? What are our values? Our Torah. For the Jewish nation, the vision, the goals is a Torah. The second leg, the second base, is our tradition, or our family, the ethnical group that came. For the Jewish nation, we all came from Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, from Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. We all have a common history from thousands of years ago. And the third leg is the place, the land of Israel. Every group has a place where it unites around it or inside it. Sometimes just a place can unite people. People in Memphis, for example, feel Memphians, although they are totally different from each other, just because of the fact they live in the same place. Usually we find all the 3 legs in one group, but sometimes a group can be missing a leg. That's what happened to our nation through the hundreds of years of exile. Our nation was wandering from place to place, and we lost a leg. We lost the feeling of being connected to a place. We lost the feeling of being connected to Israel. Now the problem is that when we lose one leg, it affects also the rest of the legs. If I go back to the tripod I'm using now, theoretically I can stand the camera only on 2 legs. I can find a way to do it. It won't be stable. It will last for some years. The other legs will have to take a big burden on themselves to stand strong. It will affect them. And when the Jewish nation forgot about the land of Israel, it started to affect also the other legs. When Jewish people were praying to go back to Jerusalem, to return to Jerusalem, so they managed to continue the tradition, they managed to continue the Torah, they managed to continue marrying into each other and continuing their history. But when people started to see Vilna as Jerusalem of Europe, that's the new Jerusalem, we don't need so much to try and go back to Jerusalem, it also unfortunately affected also the identity, the values, and the connection to as a nation, our tradition, our ancestors. People used to say, be a Jewish person in your house and a German out of your house. People saw themselves more German than Jewish. more Polish than Jewish. It's a battle where we face, all people in the diaspora face. What are we more? Do we belong more to where we live, or do we belong more to our nation? In the First World War, Jews from different countries fought against each other because they felt they belonged more to the place where they lived in. And they killed Jewish people from the other army because they felt more German or more Russian. Losing one leg affects all the other legs. Our identity needs to have all three. And maybe this is the lesson Hashem is trying to teach us by placing Yom Hashoah right after Pesach, before Yom Ha'atzmaut, and on the way to Matan Torah on Shavuot. Well, Pesach and Shavuot are connected to each other. It's when our nation became free and we set a way to go and get our values, get our Torah, receive Torah, and see where we are heading to. Pesach and Shavuot, both of them together resemble our tradition, our history, and our values. Yom Ha'atzmaut resembles our connection to the land, our desire to be together in one place. And Yom Hashoah reminds us what might happen if chas v'chalila we forget one of the legs. If chas v'chalila we forget our Jewish identity, so maybe Hitler, Yimach Shemo, will come and tell us, well, you think you're German? No, you aren't. You're a Jewish person. And he'll remind us to us in the hard way. But it also gives us hope. Yom Hashoah, with all the sadness for the 6 million people that were killed by the terrible Nazis, reminds us we can fix things. We can be strong. We can make sure we have 3 legs. And make sure we really have 3 legs and not just 2. Because a strong nation, a nation that will say, no more anti-Semites from the outside, no more forgetting the Jewish identity from the inside. We have 3 legs. We are connected to our past, we are connected to our goal, and we have a place where to fulfill our goal as a nation. We are connected to the land of Israel. We are more Jewish than German. Even if we live in the diaspora, we know where we belong, and the surroundings won't let us forget. We are more Jewish than any other thing in the world.